Thank you. Thank you, Joshua. That was wonderful. Good morning, beloveds. And thank you, those of you on Facebook who are joining us this morning. We are finishing up the month of June. And it has been a month of inclusion. That is our theme, inclusion. And so I'm going to finish up the theme, but certainly not the feelings and how we're going to move forward with talking about inclusion. And from this perspective, talking about belonging. Because it's all about the human experience of belonging, feeling included, feeling like you deserve to be someplace. And all of us have been in a situation where we didn't feel included, like we didn't feel like we belong. Now, when I was growing up, it was always called the in crowd. How many of you belonged to the in crowd? Exactly. 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 Yeah, every now and again, they might like, but there was always this in crowd. So then the opposite then where we stood would kind of be the out crowd. And what is that, what is that about? What makes them or certain people the in crowd and makes us the out crowd? And so I want to talk about that and about what that has to do with feelings of belonging and inclusion. I'm taking a class right now, a writer's class at SMU, Southern Methodist University. You guys know where that is in Dallas? Okay, so it's over Highland Village. Just so you know, it is Highland Park. So it's the class I'm taking is a 5-session class, each of them being 5 weeks long. So it's 25 weeks for the entire class. I've already done 3. I'm finishing up the 3rd session of 15 weeks on Tuesday, and we'll go into the next ones. And so when I first stepped in to the classroom, just so you know, in the 15 weeks that I've been there, I am still the only black person there. And that's okay. I mean, many times I'm the only black person there, and that's all right. But this is what, here, not only am I the only black person there, I'm the only person that's not in a yoga outfit, right? With the long nails done and all of that. So I walk into the class and I feel on the outs. Like I feel like I'm not supposed to be there. And the very first class, they were talking about what's your favorite book as a child? And they're just all naming these great books. I didn't read as a child. I read for studies. I didn't know that you could read for fun as a child. I didn't start reading for fun until I was 26 years old. My husband, Jason, introduced me to reading for fun. And he introduced me to this book at, what was the sword? Anyway, I can't remember what the name of it was. But anyway, it was, I don't know, like 500 pages. Seriously. My first book he's introducing me to reading was 500 pages long. The first 120 pages was all about these people, these guys on a boat traveling to the Americas. And so, like, I would read 10 pages, literally, throw the book up against the wall. What the hell? Anyway, I finally got through the first boring part, and it was an amazing book. And so that's how I started. But my point being is that I felt on the outside. Now, after 15 weeks, I feel on the inside. Because what I've discovered is that my feeling on the outside is really about me, right? It's about my perception of who they were. I didn't have a clue who they were, but I had all of this imaginings of who they were. And that they had all these well-read books, and they were editors, and they knew more about, but you know what? They paid their money to learn how to write, just like I did. Meaning, they weren't writers. They were in the same boat that I was in. And so we've created this wonderful group that we are now together. We've gone through this process for 15 weeks, and it's been great, really lovely. So what I want to talk with you this morning is about what I'm calling the haves and the have-nots. What does it look like to be on the inside? What does it look like to be on the outside? And why does it matter? And can we change that at all? I think we can. So, as I said, we've all been not a part of the in crowd. Can I get an amen? Is that correct? Many of us have not been on the, amen? Amen? Okay, amen. Because many of us know what what that feels like. The thing is this. The in crowd is not necessarily the most popular group. Sometimes it's just the group that's been there the longest. Like they've known each other for a long time. Like you just walk in, there's a group of friends that are just kind of talking, and they've got this talk that they do because they've known each other forever. It's like a husband and wife talking, right? They got all these little messages, little half sentences that they speak and finish each other's sentences because they've been together a long time. So it feels like that. So they don't know that they're doing this in-crowd thing. They're really just kind of clueless. Like they don't know. Right? They don't know that they haven't included you. And so what does it take for you to be a person who is on the inside and extend this welcoming, you belong behavior to those who are not? Well, first of all, it takes you recognizing that, and the reason why people, number one, are on the in-crowd and don't get that they are in the in-crowd and excluding people is because, number one, they haven't identified that they're actually a part of an in-crowd. They believe that they are welcoming. And there is a difference between being welcoming and being inviting someone in to your space. So when I was first here, and we had some classes running, and they've been running for quite some time. And I spoke with the person who was running the class, and I said, how long has the class running? It's running a long time. And I talked with some different people about whether they were going to join the class or whatever, and what they said was the class was going on too long, and they didn't feel like they could join. Now, when you talk to the people in the class, and you talk to the leaders, oh, no, everybody's welcome. Everybody's welcome. So it's a whole disconnect. They felt like people could join, but people who were outside didn't feel like they could. So how do we, and why would we change that? What do we need to do to make sure that that doesn't happen? I was talking to you guys about getting ready to start doing some mentoring work for a group around town, and I was talking with the gentleman who was heading the group. And it's called MBK, My Brother's Keeper. It's a part of the Obama Foundation. And they just help young men of color, and they don't exclude anyone. They just think everybody's a color. Whether you're a white color or a black color, doesn't matter. They include everyone in it. And at the end, they help the children, the young men to graduate. They just take them through a mentor and help them to graduate. And when they graduate, they take each one of them to get a suit. Not just an off-the-rack suit, a $2,000 suit. It's made for them. It has their name on the inside. So they have a foundation, and they have people donating to help them go down. And all they have to do is go down there and meet with the tailor and get the suit made. Many of them don't show up for a free suit because they're afraid. They don't know what to expect. They have never owned a suit, let alone know what it takes to get a suit made for you, to walk in to the area. They had never even been to this area downtown where this suit place was being made. They didn't know how to get there. So many obstacles for the people on the outside. And so what I want to share with you, the tailor is, once they get there, he's very welcoming. He's going to do all kinds of things. But the question is, how do we get them there? So what does it take to extend this feeling of belonging to others? We have to be asking ourselves all the time, am I an innie or an outie? Right? Right now, am I being an innie or an outie? The people that come through this door, or any door that you may be the keeper of, are you stopping your conversation and asking them to join? Okay? I mean, you just have to ask ourselves questions. There is this wonderful, I guess it's YouTube video. I don't think I've seen her on anything else. But anyway, her name is Angela Johnson. You guys seen her little nail salon bit? Oh my God.
Yes.
Oh, if you haven't seen it, look her up. It is so, so funny. But she's going to this nail salon, and of course, yeah, exactly. And it's run by Vietnamese ladies. And so she walks in and she wants to get her nails done, and they're speaking English, they're speaking fast, can't quite understand them. And finally she agrees to getting her nails done, and they do the nail, and she's looking at them and she's like, this one's crooked. Can you fix this one? And so the lady takes it, looks at it, looks at her, and then she starts speaking Vietnamese. Oh, she said, "You're so pretty." We know that's not what she just said. Oh, she said, "You're so pretty." That's not what she just said. And so that's, you know what I'm saying? When somebody walks up and you walk up and they're talking a different language, you feel on the outside, right? And we speak a different language and we speak in code and we don't even know that we're doing it. And New Thought, we talk a lot. We say a lot of things that other people don't know what we're talking about. And so what happens is that if we look at it, we ask ourselves, are you an innie or an outie? If you're an innie and you're talking, we just need to stop our conversation and just, hey, would you care to join the conversation? We're just talking about blah, 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 blah. Just catch them up. That's all we got to do. It's so easy to do. But it comes with making a decision to think about whether you are actually inclusive or not. And don't just assume that you are, that we are, that I am. We can't do that. So we have to ask questions, we have to set the intention, and we have to be accepting of everything and everyone that someone presents. So they're not just feeling like they got to fit in and come to where we are. As a host, and I feel like when you're an any person, you're the host. And as a host, you're thinking about what all your guests need. So if you're a person on the inside, you're thinking about what do they need to feel comfortable in here, if that's your intention, to include them, to make them feel like they belong. So conversely, what does it take to extend that feeling? What does it take to be a bee? How to feel included. So when I walked into that classroom and I had all of these thoughts on my mind about how I didn't fit in, and I don't do yoga, I can barely see my knees, let alone touch my toes. You know, these are thoughts in my mind. They never said that. So in order to be a bee, when you show up and you feel excluded, like you don't fit in, you can just change your mind about that, right? You can simply change your mind about that. You can set an intention to say, I'm going to get what I came here for. I paid my money to be in this class. I'm going to get what I came here for. I didn't come to make friends. It would be nice, but that's not what I came for. If I came into here because I wanted to hear a message, it would be great. And that's the whole idea, is that we're developing a tribe. But what did I come here for? So I get to change my mind if I believe I'm a person on the outs. Right? Amen? Amen? We can change our minds. Right? And think about just being what you came here to be, that you are worthy, no matter where you are. No one can tell you you don't belong. You belong wherever you are. You know why? Because God said so. Because we are all children of God. Yeah? Joshua was talking about this morning, if we are connected, if we believe, and we do, that we are one, that we are connected. Everything we do matters. If I make you feel like you don't belong, isn't that going to come back around to me? If I make you feel like you do belong, isn't that going to come back around to me? Because it's going to affect me, because I and you are one. Everything matters. Everybody matters. Yeah? Okay, everybody matters. So, the importance of being accepted and belonging, it's so, so valuable. We're in the class this morning, we're doing Brene Brown's book, Daring Greatly, and I would say to you, if you haven't seen her Netflix show, Call to Courage, check it out. I think it's like a little over an hour long. My favorite, she cusses. I love that. But she's real and vulnerable. And this is not someone I'm saying we need to emulate. I'm saying she's saying things that resonate. She says something that resonates with how you want to be in the world. She says a lot of things that resonate with me. And one of the things she talks about is connection and belonging and being vulnerable, meaning being open to allowing other people into your lives. So that's the thing. We put up these shields because we're afraid that we don't want people to see who we really are. But who you really are is magnificent. Do you get that? It doesn't matter what this physical thing shows up. Who you are is magnificent. Children of God. That's who we all are. So you don't need to be afraid. When we do that, when we belong, this is a community that we belong to, we feel joy and happiness. And you know that I'm a big component of joy and happiness. That's what life is about. Yes. So belonging has become such a big deal that there is actually this thing called the belonging intervention. And I meant to tell you at the beginning, so let me just tell you now. There was a study done and it's still ongoing. There's lots of things that are coming out of it. But it's talking about these unwritten rules. See, we step into places and we don't know what the rules are, right? Until the in-crowd or somebody lets us know. They don't always let you know. You kind of got to be there and stumble around. But there's these unwritten rules at these elite colleges, Yale, Harvard, Stanford. And that's fine. If you grew up in that environment, you went to prep school and all that, you know what those rules are. But if you were a person who came from the inner city, you got a scholarship, you're there, and it's the first time you've been, you don't know what those rules are. And so they stumble. They're not as successful. One of the rules, just to give you one, that they did not know about was the fact that the school closes down when they go on vacation for spring break, for Christmas break, all of that. Well, those kids didn't know that. And their food is supplied during the school year. When the school is cut down, the cafeteria is closed. So for 2 weeks, those kids don't have food. They had to go to the food pantry, or they had to figure out a way because they did not know that unwritten rule. This is a part of not feeling like you belong, where there are things you don't know about. How to study, how to get food, all these things. So there's a thing going on now that's called a belonging intervention. And they're starting to do it in schools at the freshman year. It's interesting how they're doing it. They're asking the freshmen to be a part of a research. And they're saying, what would you say to someone who just came through the door that they would need to know, or how you're feeling, how they're going to feel about this, that, and the other thing? And they said, because people want to help other people. We talked about that this morning in class, how difficult it is for you to accept help, to receive, but it's much easier for you to help someone else. So when they were thinking about helping other people, they were very open about the things that were bothering them, what was going on. And some of the signs that are up in the room when they come are this: you're not alone. This is a sign that's up. You're not alone. You belong. And then life gets better. This is what happens as they're beginning to do this belonging intervention, where they're starting to have people just walk with freshmen and say, these are the things that you need to know. This is how we include people, by thinking about it, by making an intention and taking some action. Belonging is primal. We need to have this feeling of belonging, whether humans, animals, we all want to belong and feel worthy. That's who we are. It is fundamental. So there's a CNN article that talked about the intervention, and I'm going to read it because I want to just get it right. It's from CNN. It says this: in one study involving African American and white college freshmen in a predominantly white university, the intervention in the first year of college changed the trajectory of minority students, their achievement, by steadily improving their grades all the way through to senior year. That they had a higher grade point average relative to the multiple control groups, and the minority achievement gap overall was reduced by 50%. Just intervening and saying, you belong. And this is what it takes to belong. This is what you need to know. That's the power of understanding what it takes and why belonging and inclusion is so important. The unwritten rules, we don't even know what those things are. What rules? What rules? Certainly many of us in New Thought are rule breakers, and that's all good, but at least we know what the rules are that we're breaking. I don't care about that rule. Yeah, I know it was there. I saw it. I ran the light officer. It was stupid. It was in the wrong place. Anyway, so that's okay about the rules and all that, but what we need to do, what we want to do, is to set an intention for being inclusive, for making sure that wherever we are not putting someone on the outside, that we're making sure that we are number one, we feel like we belong, and then we're extending that feeling of inclusion and belonging. So we extend that feeling by setting the intention, as I said. When we set the intention, we invoke the law of attraction, right? We talk about the law of attraction, and certainly I've talked with you before about what my word for the year is: joyous prosperity, joyous prosperity. And so when you set the intention, you invoke the law of focus and concentration. I had gone to visit my sister. When she was gone for a week or two, I was gone, so we haven't seen each other for a couple of weeks, and we tried to at least have lunch once a week. And so we just weren't able to do it, and finally I said, hey, I'm just going to come over on Friday. And she said, yeah, I'm working from home, come on over on Friday. So I went on Friday to her place, and she made some great lunch for us. Her granddaughter was there. Nyla, I think she's 4. Could be 5, I think she's 4. And my name is PJ or Pamela, but she calls me Aunt Panda. No, she said, Aunt Panda! You know that. And so she said, Aunt Panda, because clearly I was there for her. I wasn't there for any other reason. She said, Aunt Panda, come play with me. And I said, okay, now let me just talk to your grandmother for a minute, and I'll come play with you. And she said, okay, here are the dolls that we're going to play with. Their names are blah, blah, blah. I said, okay, baby, we're going to, just let me just finish. She said, okay, and so what we're going to do is, we're going to, I thought, okay, baby, here we go, let's go. And so she was focused on what she wanted. And then I probably wasn't even talking. All she was hearing blah, 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 blah. She wasn't hearing a thing because she was focused and concentrating on what she wanted. That's the power of setting intention. Yeah, I learned a lot from my little niece. I like my little grandniece. I love her. So set an intention for what you want. You got to be a bee. You have to be a bee. Feel included. Affirm wherever you are the truth. What's the truth?
We are all children of God.
We are all children of God. We are all one. And we are all, therefore, worthy wherever we are. That is the truth. Amen? 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 Amen. That is the truth. That is the truth of your and my existence. We belong. We set an intention. Belonging and acceptance is so very important. It's a basic need. We have to belong. We are all one. We are each individualized expressions of the one. That is who we are. That is who we are. You can take that to the bank. You're not alone. Everyone matters. Everyone matters. If you don't hear anything else I said today, hear these 2 things. Everyone matters, and everyone belongs.